All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Whitney Kyles, and today I'll be going over how to profile different entity types on context. Now, with context, what you'll want to do to access it is, once again, if you're inside Lexis, you'll just click on these dots up here at the top. This is your product menu. And then you'll access context by clicking on it like so. And now you're brought to the home page. Now, the different entity types that you can get profiles on will be listed under the drop-down arrow next to all. So you can get profiles on experts, judges, courts, attorneys, and companies. And it's a really simple way to search. You just need a name. So we're going to start first with expert witness. So I'll just go to the all, select expert, and now I'll just put in the name of the expert that I want to get a profile on. And so you'll notice that as you're typing in the suggestion, anyone that matches that name description will appear. This is the person that I'm looking for. So I'm just going to click on that suggestion. And now I'm brought to his profile. Now there's 3 tabs, and the first tab is overview. So with overview, think background information. So for this particular expert, we've got some contact information. I can see that he's usually hired for the plaintiff's party. If I scroll further down, I can get a snapshot of how many cases is this expert involved based on year. I can also access all his resumes. So if you want to check for any discrepancies, you can look through the resumes right here. You can also get an idea of their experience by practice area, as well as jurisdiction. And then you also have documents. These documents relate to what you can find on Lexis, where this person's name is recognized as an expert. And I'll go more into documents here in a moment. So the next tab is analytics. And as it concerns experts, you can find out their challenges that were in federal court. And these are going to be their direct challenges. If you are not certain of what a direct challenge is, it's a challenge that excludes all or part of their testimony at the time of trial. So for this particular expert, I can see that he's had 15 challenges. I can see that 53% of those have been positive. If I scroll further down, I can actually see all the cases that involve where those challenges occurred. Anywhere you are seeing gray dots, this is on what grounds the challenge occurred. So for this first one, this person was challenged on methodology, qualification, and relevance. And despite all that, it was still allowed in. And here on the side, you can actually access all of the challenges here on the side. Now there are filtering options. Actually, no, I misspoke. There are filtering options in the other content types. So I'll show you that here in a moment. But next we have documents. And so on the document snapshot on the overview tab, this is going to show you the same type of information. What's nice about the documents tab though, is instead of having to rerun a search in Lexis on this particular expert, this brings you out to the results here. There are filtering options within all these different content types, just as if you were in Lexis. So if you wanted to find, let's say, all the challenges that aren't just direct challenges for this particular expert, you'd want to go to expert witness materials. Now, these filtering options are specifically for expert witness materials. You can then go to sub-content type, and I can see there's 135 challenges that aren't direct that are going to be housed in here. You can also find testimony and reports. So if you're looking for depositions, this is where that content type would be housed. And then once again, you can access all the resumes under the expert witness materials under documents for this particular expert. So that is essentially if you want to profile expert witnesses on context. Next, we're going to focus on judges. So once again, we'll go to our all filter, and now we'll just select judge. And then once again, all you need is a name. And I can actually see as I'm typing out his last name that he's appearing right here. So I'll click on that suggestion. And so just as with experts, you have your overview tab for judges. So you can find out information like their judicial experience in terms of what court they served. Once again, practice area. You can get a list of their experience here, how many opinions based on case law they decide on a year. You can get their education background, their contact information, and then documents. Now, what's really great about the analytics for judges is if you're thinking of filing a particular type of motion in front of a judge, context will let you know the probability of it being granted, and you can also access the language. And so there's two tabs under analytics. We'll focus on motion language first. This one does have filtering options. And if I scroll down, here's all the different motion types that you can file. And then this is going to show you the probability of each motion. And so if I wanted to find out the probability for a motion for summary judgment, honestly, it looks about dead even in terms of them being granted and denied, and then a little bit of them being partially granted. Now that I've clicked on motion for summary judgment, all the cases that this analytic is based on, those cases are going to be listed right here. And so if you want to jump out to the case to look at the decision language, it's very simple. You just click on the hyperlink of the case right here, or you can look at the decision language right here. Another thing that you can do under analytics is look at citation patterns. So with citation patterns, I can find out what opinions this particular judge normally relies on in his own opinions. And so we've got the opinions he relies on right here. If I click on any of these opinions, the language that he likes will be presented here on the side. You can also click on judges. So if you want to just know in general what judges does our particular judge usually cite to, you can get a list of judges' names as well. And if you click on any judge's name, then on the side, you'll get the language analytics that our particular judge relies on in his own opinions. And then last but not least, we also have documents. So if you want to find out additional materials that aren't case law, for example, on a particular judge, by going to document, you can then click on whichever content type you're looking for, where that name's recognized as a judge. And then based on the content type you click on, then these filters will help you narrow down within that particular content type. And now we're going to focus on courts. So with the court, all you need is, once again, the name of the court. And so if I put in United States Court, and I wanted to look for New York Southern, you can see it pops up as a suggestion right here. So I'll go ahead and click on it. Now, where the court profiling can come in handy is if you're trying to just get a general idea of your court before a particular judge is assigned to your case. So once again, we've got our three tabs up here at the top. Our first one is overview. I can get information on the court. I can get their website address. I can get an idea of the major practice areas. And it looks like there's more right here. If I scroll further down, I can get a list of the active judges and what year they were appointed. I can get an idea of how many cases are published or decided on per year. Once again, that's based on case law. And then we also have our documents down here. Now we'll go into analytics. So the analytics are very similar to the analytics found within the judge profile. Essentially, you have your motion language and your citation patterns. The only difference is now you're looking at the motion language that's filed into the court versus a specific judge. You can, of course, use these filtering options to narrow it in. And then just like within judges, you click on the particular motion that you're thinking of filing in this particular court. You've got your key to show you what these colors refer to. And then you've got your cases with the decision language listed here on the side. And then mentioned a few seconds ago, we can also get citation patterns for this court. And I apologize, the computer's being a little slow. Okay, so here we can get a list of the frequent opinions that are cited to in this particular court. Once again, based on the opinion that you click on, the language that's usually cited to will be listed right here on the side. And then you can also find a list of judges that the court is normally using in their own opinions. And just like within the judge profile, the language will be listed here on the side too. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi that's kind of acting up, but okay. So here we've got the judges again. And then once again, based on whichever judge you click on, then it'll show you the language analytics here on the side. And then of course you've got documents, which just like with all the other content types or entity types that we looked at, you've got your different content types that you can search for the United States District Court of New York Southern. Based on the content type you click on, then you can use these filtering options below. They work just like the filters on Lexis, so you can narrow down to the most relevant result. So that is essentially courts. Now we're going to look at attorneys. So maybe you want to profile opposing counsel and just, or even someone in the firm if you want to maybe look at prior arguments that they've filed. Once again, you just go to the all drop-down arrow. Now we'll select attorney. And I just picked someone within the firm. Hopefully he doesn't mind. And so I picked Jason Eckerly. And so here I've got a brief overview again. So we can get litigation events by areas of law, can get an idea of his experience in law, education, brief pleadings and motions in different courts. We've got his bar admissions information here, and then we've got documents. All right, so now let's go to arguments. So here we've got roughly 37 arguments, and you have filtering options to sift through which particular type of motion, for example, that you're looking for. And then you also have different filtering options, like maybe if you want to see what he has submitted in front of a particular judge or the particular attorney. So those are some filtering options there on the side. For this first one, the Dart Oil case, I can see that this is a response to a motion to dismiss. The response is right here. So if I click on this, this will show me the actual response. What's nice about this too is I can see in what order the response occurred. And then if I want to access any other brief pleadings and motions that go with this case, I can just click on the hyperlink down here below. And so this is what you can essentially expect if you're looking for brief pleadings and motions for different attorneys. And then we also have documents, as mentioned a few seconds ago. And they'll work just the same way as the other entity types. You would just select the content type that you want to check out, where that name is mentioned as an attorney. And then you would just use the filters below to narrow down. And last but not least, let's now focus on companies. So if you want to profile a company, once again, you'll go back to the all pre-filter. Now just select company. And I just chose a company that I knew we'd all be familiar with. So I'm just going to do Facebook Incorporated. Okay. So when you're profiling companies, if you start within the overview tab, you've got fact sheet. So you can find out, the address, their SIC, number of employees, how to get a hold of them. You can get a snapshot of their fiscal year, such as liabilities, assets, net sales, and net income. You can get a snapshot of their stock performance with NASDAQ. If you want to have a hierarchy, like maybe their subsidiaries, et cetera, you can find that out under the hierarchy header. You can also find out which firms have prior represented them. So if you're thinking of approaching a company for business, you can already get an idea based on case law who's represented them. You can find out information such as news. You can also get litigation events by court, litigation events by practice area, and then documents. And so a lot of these analytics we'll see here in a second under the analytics tab. Okay, so within analytics, there's two subheaders. There's litigation and there's news storyline. So within litigation, we do have filtering options to sift through the litigation that this particular company has been involved in. We've got the representation tab. So if I want to find the cases based off of a firm, I can just click on the applicable firm, and then those cases will be listed here for related dockets. If I go to practice area, I can narrow down the dockets and cases this way based off of the company's litigation. And then you also have court. If you want to start tracking news on a company, you can do that too. So here we've got news storylines, and these storylines, they're based off of, so they're going to be news articles of related dockets and case opinions. And a lot of these articles are pulled out of Law 360. And so here you've got the list of articles listed here based off the different lawsuits. And then you also have related lawsuits, which is just going to have, so like depending on which litigation type you click on, then the lawsuits that relate to that would be listed under this tab. And so I can see that these are being pulled out of the dockets because you can see the docket numbers right here. Now I'd like to go into people. So this is kind of like a public records feature in a sense, where if you want to get a list of anyone that's tied to working with the company, their positions will be listed here. And then depending on the type of information we get, you can also find email addresses in here. And then there's filtering options within people too. And then just like with all the other entity types, we have the documents tab for companies. And so with Facebook, I'm sure they have a lot of action within cases, dockets, news. So you can click your content type here. And then once again, you've got filtering options below to narrow down within those content types. And so that's essentially CourtLink. Once again, all you really need is a name of what you're looking for. And then to just be aware that you can search for different entity types listed here under the all pre-filter. And so if anyone has any questions at this time, if you want to unmute yourself, you can ask your question, or I'll send everyone a follow-up email. You can ask your question that way too. Then if you guys don't have any questions, then I want to thank you for coming out for this webinar session. I do greatly appreciate it, and just be on the lookout for my follow-up email.